the dock is, every heartbeat dull and loud. Cold steel in my palm, knuckles scarred and tight. Line cuts through that black glass as I aim into the night. In the silence they're watching, every movement matters.
Hello everyone. Welcome. This is going to be a fun one. Today we are going to be airbrushing soft plastic baits. So I am going to Lake Gunnerville here in about 5 weeks for my first tournament of the season. This is with the PVA Pro Bass Series. So should be a good time, but I am definitely needing a lot of baits. So I have been working on getting those done at the same time working on air vices, and so it's been crazy days. How you doing, sir? Glad to see you. Glad you could join me. So we should have you in here too, because you're a good one for this kind of stuff. So everything sound okay? You can hear me good? No funny looking videos or anything? So we'll turn on, see if I can figure out how to do this. There, now we switch camera views. We've got quite a few baits here ready to paint. Good, glad to hear it. So Lake Gunnerville is full of bass, and so what I'm hoping I can do is imitate some of the baby bass and some of the smaller bass and catch the bigger bass. So I've fished there once before, maybe twice before, way back when I was in the service, and it was great fishing back then. And I've heard that the fishing's gotten even better. So this is kind of a basic bass recipe. The only thing I do is I add some 8-bit products to it, because man, anything with 8-bit products is going to catch the fish. So we have the Epic Stud that we'll be working with today. And then of course you can't get away without having the Epic Mullet. That's another good one. And then I'm gonna try, I didn't laminate these, but I think they'll be okay just the way they are. I don't think the belly on a bass is usually pretty small anyway, so I don't know how much it will matter. And then this one here is, this mold here, no matter what you do, every one of this guy's molds either looks like a carp or it looks like an angry carp. And so it's not my favorite. The thing I do like about it is that flat top, and it has that big hook slot, so I can use an EWG hook in there and just tech pose that, and it seems to give a lot of room to push that hook up real high into a bass's mouth. And that's about the only reason I ever even make this, because I don't think bass eat carp. I'm not sure, but on the smallies it works. We don't have enough largemouth bass here in Wyoming to really get a feel for it. I've caught some largemouth on it, but we'll give it a try. But you know, I know for sure the Epic Mullet is a great bass catcher. So in addition to the baits, we're going to be using the lure wicks. Hey, how's it going, bud? Glad you could join me. The SB coat from Lureworks. The reason why I paint with this is because you don't have to clear dip your paints when you're done. If you use, I've done it with like the Testes model airplane paint, and you have to clear dip, otherwise it'll flake off your soft plastics. So this SB coat, it airbrushes real nice. You know, the dotting paints. There's different ones you can get. There's soft plastic paint, which is very thin. It has a lot of solvent in it. And then there's the SB dotting paint. Now, dotting paint is really, really thick. So if you're going to use it to airbrush, you need to thin it out. If you're just dabbing this paint on or dotting it on, you want to get the dotting paint, the thicker stuff. The soft plastic paint is so thin that you'll have to build it up over time if you're going to paint it on with a brush or something. But it airbrushes really, really nice. You get a lot of control from the airbrush with it. So get this shit out here. I don't have a real fancy airbrush, just kind of a generic, basic. This is a Hiawatha airbrush. You get them at like Hobby Lobby. The nice things about these Hiawatha airbrush is you get flow control, which is this knob back here. If you screw this out, there's a little, this is a stopper. You get a lot of, you introduce a lot of paint at once. If you screw it in, it stops that and you don't get as much of a stroke, so you don't introduce as much paint. So you can paint real light, wispy, thin coatings. This knob down here is basically the flow regulator. So when you push this button down, it turns the air on. When you pull it back, you turn the paint on. But you can push this down and adjust this knob, and that will control how much air, the volume of air that flows out. It will not adjust pressure. Pressure is down on the regulator, down on your air pump. So I usually run right around 30 psi for about everything. So we'll get my compressor turned on. Hopefully you guys will still be able to hear me. And you can hear it. By adjusting this, you can get very little air or quite a bit of air. So I usually start with very, very little air coming out of it, and then very little paint. So let me put a little bit of this in here. Show you guys how we do this, or at least how I do it. You guys are probably going to yell and laugh and say, "Oh, you're doing it all wrong." Again, this is the SB paint. So it's very thin and very watery. And then I use, this is newsprint. Hey Jeff, you can get newsprint. Just go to your newspaper office and ask them for their end of roll. Because they'll do a run printing the newspaper for the day. At the end of the day, whatever's left on the machines, they take off and they're going to throw away because it's not enough to run the next day's newspapers. And you can pick up rolls with 300 or 400 feet of this paper for like 50 cents. But you can see here I got nothing coming out. So I start adjusting it a little bit at a time. Now, if you notice, that's a very nice thin coat, and it's kind of spotty, which is really nice because if you stay, you're going to get a concentrated dot. if you keep moving, you get that nice, almost smoky coverage. And that's kind of where we want it for stripes. So if I was to make this into a largemouth bass, I would simply start with dots. Largemouth bass have a lot of heavy dots in the center, but those dots are almost triangulated. So then I go back through and I just kind of stripe these just a little bit. And you turn that air down a little bit, and then you can go in and do a band. That's hardly putting anything on there. And then I can start working this a little bit more there. There we go. I can start working this into my little diamonds. And the diamonds almost join together the way I see them. I don't know if you guys are able to see that very well or not. Let's see there. There you can kind of see what I'm doing, huh? It's hard to see a dark color on a dark bait. But just by gently, you know, the way I've always thought about this is I can always add more paint if I need more paint, more coverage. So I can go back through and darken everything up. It's pretty hard to take it away, especially with this dotting paint, this SP coat, because it almost instantly soaks in. And then the other thing I want to do is go in and I want to completely black out that eye. Do a little more paint going here. The reason I black out that eye is because even after you glue in your eye, you're going to see a little bit of that black ring around it, which is going to add to the texture of that eye. So, bass tend to have some stripes up towards the top of their body. So I'll go through and add a couple little stripes up there. And then, as a final touch on with the black, a little bit of a club there. I want to go in and just smoke the very top of this bait. So I do that by painting my fingers. Now, trying to first put my brush. And try to get in here. There you can see a little bit of that texture that it added to that bait. It just adds just a tiny amount of realism. And again, start really, really light and work your way heavier. And investing in airbrush. Hiawatha is probably the most common, and I like the Hiawatha simply because I have a tendency to knock stuff off my table, and when I do, it tends to bend airbrush needles. And you can see the needle if I take this apart. I keep the needle guard in place, but that little bitty hair right on there is the needle. And so they're very, very fragile. Now this is a small needle. This is a 0.003 millimeter. So it's the smallest needle you can get. And if you bend that, you throw the needle, the tip, everything away. And so you can go to Hobby Lobby and buy those needles, and the needles are pretty inexpensive. They're like $8. The whole airbrush, this airbrush was about $25, and it came with 3 different needles and 2 different size cups, all the needle seats, all the needle guards, everything you needed. And it's a 3-position adjustable, so you can adjust your on off, you can adjust your air, and you can adjust your paint flow. The air compressor is the expensive part. Hey, what's up, man? That little air pump's about $150 now. The good news is you buy them once and you have them forever. If you're going to buy an air compressor dedicated, or an airbrush dedicated air compressor, get one that has an automatic off on it. So when it comes up to pressure, it shuts off. If you don't want to invest $150, just get a regulator and buy the fittings that go to your airbrush hose, and plumb those into your regular air compressor and regulate it down somewhere between 20 and 30 psi. 50 is as much psi as you'll ever run through an airbrush, and that's, you got to be throwing some pretty heavy paint with a big needle to do that. This is running right about 25 to 30 psi. So you make Sina. What's Sina? I don't know what you mean by do I make Sina. Oh, Cincos. Yeah. I make stick baits, which are the Cinco. The Cinco is a brand, and it has salt added. I don't add salt to my salt plastics simply because it makes it brittle. I get 2 or 3 hits on a stick bait, and it's broken half, or it breaks off when I cast, or you know, I need something a little more reliable. So instead of using salt, I buy sinking blend plastisol, and so then I get a little faster sink rate. Other than that, I start adding lead nail weights to my stick baits. So, but yeah, I make stick baits, and I'll even paint them to look like snakes if I'm going to an area that's heavy in snakes. So we'll turn this over. Get this other side done up. So when I do my bass, I try to get those dots evenly spaced. And then I go back through after I get the dots, and I start striping it. And then I start making my little triangles. Then I go through the top. Adjust that just a little bit here. Frog the top. You can see I roll the bait, that way I overspray down into that bar of dots that I made. Just kind of blends everything really nicely. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. There, now you can see it. Almost a more fun pattern is smallmouth bass. And smallmouth are very, very easy because they got very bold, distinct lines. Oh, well, thank you, Jeff. I've just been playing around too long. That's the biggest problem. You want to see somebody that's really good with it, go check out Into the Woods. He is got talent coming out his ears. He is really good, especially modifying the molds and stuff. Smallmouth have random bar. Maybe you can see that. Yeah, smallmouth are fun. And smallmouth actually, bigmouth bass bite better on smallmouth than they do on other patterns, I found. And I'll go through and I'll darken that top edge up. Just wing it a lot, huh? Well, you're winging it makes it pretty nice baits. There. See, and that's the start of a smallmouth. The problem with bass is most of them are more yellow than green. So, bring this airbrush out real quick. And I use acetone to clean my airbrush. You can use alcohol, all kinds of things. They sell a regular airbrush solvent. I never buy it. These SB coats and SB paints are all thinned out with acetone anyway, so acetone works real well for it. But I found that acetone is cheap, especially when you're spending $90 for a 5-gallon can of it. So I use acetone for everything. Okay, now when I go to do my yellow, since it's a dotting paint and not an SB coat, I get my cup about a third of the way full of acetone. I better close this up before I spill it everywhere. And then if you start with acetone in your container before you add the coating, it'll mix better without getting a clumpy spot in the bottom. Then I put about a third of the yellow in it. And see, this is that Lureworks SB Coat dotting paint. So the dotting paint is different than the plastic paint. Give that a stir. And we'll get our brush set up for that. What I'm looking for is a nice broad line of yellow where it doesn't get all spittery. There, we got it. Now here's the trick. Window screen. Airbrushing jig heads any? Yeah, I airbrush some of them. I do more spinners and spoons than I do jigs, simply because jigs are so fast and easy to just dip in the powder coat. But I'll powder coat them, and then I'll paint different patterns on them and stuff, and stencil stuff on them. So the trick to yellowing up is you want to make it yellow and look like scales at the same time. So I just take window screen and I press it so that I squish my bait a little bit, and then I just start coating just until I can see that yellowness on the string. And when you pull the screen off, see if I can get this up here to where you can see it. You end up with kind of a yellowish, scaly type of pattern where the dark green is the lines in between the scales, and it leaves just a hint of yellow, and it also will lighten up and smooth out all that black that you just did so that it doesn't look as harsh. But I don't know if you can see that. Makes for kind of a cool effect. So coat it with clear powder coat after painting and bake them like normal. If you paint with enamel, you can. If you paint with lacquer, you cannot. Lacquer, it will start to blister at about 180 degrees, whereas enamel is good to about 400 degrees. So your choice of paints will make a huge difference in your final outcome. Turn that puppy around since I'm holding it with my left hand. You can see that one, and it just is enough that it shows up as a scale like pattern. It softens the black, but it won't detract from that 8-bit products that I put in there. You can see those sparkle right through that light yellow coating. So but it is enough that uh, it makes a big difference in how the fish hit these baits. If I stopped right there, I would get hits, but by adding that yellowness to it, I actually get more hits. Uh, then it's just a matter of converting them to catches. There we go. That looks pretty good. Go over and do this side. You may have to move because once you get that much yellow on your screen, it's hard to see through to what you're doing. So I moved my screen just a little bit. And this window screen, it's like $5 for a 3-foot roll of it. So you get an awful lot of it that you can play with. This actually adds a cool, if you paint your spoons and your spinners and jig heads with black, and then go back through with silver, either a silver or like a monkey milk type of color, you know, that kind of rainbowish colors, and paint through a screen on your jigs and spoons, and it'll give it a really cool effect. So now the only thing we got left, well, I'll put an eye on here, but you can see this gill detail right here. I like to light that up with a little bit of orange. And to get orange, I use red and yellow. Since I got yellow in there, I just add a drop of red to it to make them orange. Otherwise, you'd have to buy 10,000 different colors of this dotting paint. Let's see if that's enough. A little bit more. There, now we got it. Get that straight up until I get to that orange paint. I need a little bit more red. It's coming out almost too yellowish orange. There we go. Now we'll come in. Turn it. trying to do this around the corner. There, come in and just lightly cover the chin. There we go. That made for kind of a nice little springtime or young bass. So a lot of nice detail in the scales there and little blacks. And so you can make crappie and perch. Bluegills have a lot of orange, so you know you basically start with this same pattern. Yeah, hairs all over this thing. Start with this same pattern, and then just take your orange. All you got it mixed up, you just cover a little bit on the front end, and that's just enough color that you turn that into almost a bluegillish type of pattern or a crappie type of pattern. So a little bit of perch going here. Yeah. That's the beauty of airbrushing. Whatever you can imagine, you can do. So, I don't know if you can really see that. A little bit, huh? It's hard to work around the camera and have lights in the way and everything else. So, a lot of cool things you can do. You can even take a carp and make it look almost better. Oops, spilling. And one cool thing you can do, this carp is a good one to highlight that. If you really want to, I don't know if you can see that fin on the back there. If you want to really highlight that fin, you just come in at a really steep angle and just lightly dust it with a little bit of paint. And now, let's brush down. Now when you look at it, you've created that dark line that borders it. So you got that orange fin with that dark line, and it just really makes those fins, and you can do the same thing with little gills and eye sockets and stuff like that. Just you're basically coming in almost at the nose of it. And just barely dust it. And now you can really see how that it just lightened that up enough that it made the dark shadows around the gills kind of show up. So, you know, some of these overly textured baits, you know, it kind of helps them some. And you get to cover your fingers with paint. That's always the fun part, isn't it? Finger painting. Oh, hey, Mr. Michael's in the house. How you doing, sir? We're making a mess, Mike. What in the heck's going on here? We're using SB coat, the dotting paint, you know, the stuff you said turn off all the ventilation fans and use it. With no mask. I don't want any more flip-flop comments. But I got a greenhouse ventilation system going. It's sucking stuff straight up out of here. So, matter of fact, it's turning colors after all the years. But okay, I'll leave your flip-flops alone for this week. This will do his thing. Spring hawk. You know, I guess I got lucky with mine because I didn't have any leaks. I haven't had any problems with mine. So, let's see. I wanted to see about doing. Green with a little bit of red, a little bit of 8-bit magic in it. I've got a spinner blade that'll work just fine. Clean my gun up here real quick. Yeah, I got the extended warranty on my boat. Never used it. I still have warranty time left on it. But called them up to get wheel bearings done. Wheel bearings aren't covered under it. So the boat motor is covered, the boat is covered. The trailer is not covered, so kind of tells me they must have had problems with the trailers. Yeah, I just bought my wife and my truck here 2 years ago and paid for that extended warranty on them. Best thing I ever did. My truck I haven't had problems with. Her truck, the engine's gone out, the transmission's gone out, the rear differential went out. Okay. Yeah, let me see. What else have I got? Ooh, no, we're gonna be good. Here we go. Get a nice harsh line going on this. Just a little more paint. There we go. Now, take this off for a second here. Get this to work. It's an awful small spoon. there. Go on the inside. That's just a dot after I smack you guys around. There. And then if you clear dip that, SB coat is an enamel, so it won't blister. If you use like what would be a good one? If you used a paint that was intended to paint wood and stuff like that, those are all lacquers, and lacquers will blister. So wish I had another blade here. I don't. I had some that were white. What did I do with them? We could always put paint chucking on here on a blade, huh? That would be cool. Hey, how's it going, Jeff? Cleaning my brush up. Let's go. Get that from the black. That's a mess. Smell these smashers in the house. How much? We're playing with highly volatile dotting paints. And because of that, we can no longer give Michael a hard time about his flip-flops. He is in California after all. So, you know, he has an excuse. Get around the eyeball. Look at that. You see all that bling flashing through it. And every fish that I caught on that adventure with Gary had 8-bit products in it, in the bait. Every one of them. If it didn't have 8 bits, they just weren't interested in it. Let's see if I can somehow get this in the screen here. makes a pretty good looking bass. Why can't we pick one? Bait chuck. Michael's giving me a hard time because I'm using SB coat, which has acetone in it as a solvent, without having a mask on. I mean, the ventilation system's on, but he wants me to wear a mask too. Why would you want to put like that? That sounds like this. But yeah. See if we can't make this a smallie. Yeah, I think he just wanted an excuse to get away with wearing flip-flops myself. Yeah. Made for a little better looking bass, didn't it? Well, you can sure see that bling in it. See if we can darken up that fin a little bit. That looks nice. And we can do a carp. Everybody loves carp, right? Yeah. Get the real fish out here. So I got enough for one more of that. So quit spilling it everywhere. That's why I put paper down on my bench. Matter of fact, I want to darken up the fin. There we go. I don't know where you guys are seeing this. beauty of the chatterbait is these little diamonds back here are an excellent guide for how far apart your spots should be. So you could start with these diamonds in the back, and that'll tell you how far apart and how big to make your dots for your bass. And I just go in on the top and just barely dust it black, just darken it up a little bit. And make my tail orange. There, we'll get rid of this. And we'll go to some yellow and we'll do some scales on it. For those that missed that earlier. Now, this is actually dotting paint. Dotting paint's thicker than the what they call the soft plastic paint. So you got to kind of bear that in mind when you're picking out your paints. If you're gonna dot like making Wonder Bread jigs or something, you want to make sure you get the dotting paint because it is thick, and you'll use a dotting tool and it'll stick to your soft plastics really well. If you're going to airbrush, you want to try to stick with the soft plastic paint because it is already thinned out and flows a lot better in your airbrush. So, but I just thin it out. Okay, get a little more paint going. And then we'll get our screen out. Hopefully you guys can see this. Maybe I can move this down without shaking around too off the pad. So what we do is we put my window screen, it's just ordinary window screen, and I hold it over that and pull it tight down against the plastic. And then you just cover it. You don't want to go overly thick. Once you can see the yellow, you know, the light color on your screen, that's heavy enough. When you pull it up, it gives that neat little, almost a scaled pattern, but the biggest thing is it lightened up the black. So those black dots, just made them just a hair. You can see the difference here. See how dark black those are compared to those, but I can go through here and lighten them up just like that. And so now they're still visible, but they're not dark, dark, dark black. So it made the overall appearance of the bait lighter, and it's a light enough coating of paint that the 8-bit products still show through with that refractiveness and reflectiveness. You can see some, really visible there. So that spot, and I'll move up here. And now you can see that looks just almost natural. So I like to lighten up underneath the chin just a little bit. And then there's my finished, once I get an eye on there, it'll be done. But a nice little dark eye on there, and that'll look really, really good. So, and you can still see all that nice 8-bit products in there that make it all worthwhile having. You know, those 8-bit products, you catch a lot more fish with them. See my brush on the floor. So I'll take this one and lighten it up some. That's the beauty of airbrush, and even a crappy painter like me can do it. See, and that makes for a fairly decent looking little bait. So well, I tell you, it'd be neat to see Nate Marlin do this. What his thoughts would be. That guy knows how to airbrush. I'm gonna brush up real quick here. That's the bad thing about these dotting paints, is they dry really fast. Alright, then the best thing you can do when you get done is take your paper towel and take this apart and make sure everything's clean and dry. So It's in there pretty tight, isn't it? There we go. I usually just check as long as there's no paint on that needle. You can use it and go back in. And it'll clean anything out as you push it through. It'll end up pushing it right out the end of that. See, that was pretty clean because nothing came out with it. So then the trick is the adjustment on it. So put my needle guard back on. And this is just your spray adjustment here. This allows the needle to be pulled back. See, you can go all the way back like that, so that you're allowing a lot of paint. You'll really open that up and draw paint down into there. Or you can bring this in really close, and then it won't let hardly any paint flow through. This is your pressure regulator here. That determines how much air is getting through to atomize the paint. So very little air, you'll get kind of a spotty pattern. If you allow a lot of air, you'll get more of a smoky or a spread out type of pattern. So pretty easy to adjust. So, and they, they're cheap. This was, I think, 30 bucks. They're at Hobby Lobby, so they're not very much. Kind of fun though if you want to add just a touch of realism to your baits. So you can see some of these. There's one that's with the scales. There's the one without the scales. It just how much you want to put into it. Now you can, what I usually do is put my eye on, and then I clear dip these because it helps hold the eye on. Some of these I won't put eyes on because I'm using them, on a jig or something. So you don't need an eye. So get your cart put away. That'll give them a little eye. This is the one that it won't get an eye, so I don't clear dip or do anything with this. So this is really neat mold. It's an epic mold, but you have to bear in mind every other mold you do, you'll pour the belly first and then pour the back. Well, with this mold, you pour the back first, and then the belly's the last part of that. So, but you can make some neat patterns on these, depending on which colors you buy in your dotting paints. Oh yeah. Using air lessons. Yeah, the Japanese, it's getting, they're so overfished, and the fish are getting so pressured. Airbrushing the soft plastics has become really popular, just to combat, so that the fish see something that they haven't seen before. Man, I got that stuff webbed up all over the place. It's like little spider webs. That's what happens when you airbrush without a mask on. So. Oh, Clear Lake, yeah, we've got a tournament on that in April or May. I think it's April. Yeah, I guess, see, because my next one, the one that's coming up is in Gunnersville. And I guess that one's really moon disc or hollow shift into the SB Clear Coat. Yes, I have. I do it a lot. I love that stuff. I haven't done the moon dust because I don't have any moon dust, but no, I do have one moon dust. I got that T8000, I think, December, the one. I haven't tried it with that. But the hollow shift I mix with the clear all the time. So yeah, I don't know. When I started using your products, my baits went to a whole new level. They actually started catching fish. So, and now what I found is if you don't have 8-bit products in, the fish just aren't interested in it. So I'm hoping that will give me an advantage in Gunnersville. So, but yes, the hollow shift mixes very well with the SB Clear Coat. And what I like to do is I'll put on, my favorite one is a Wonder Bread. So it's white bait, and you put the red, blue, and yellow dots on it, and then you use the hollow shift, and I can make like bloodlines and stuff like that that are very reflective. They're even more reflective than mixing it in with the soft plastics. So yeah, that works great. And if you're gonna airbrush even with enamels, get clear enamel and use the hollow shift in the clear enamel. So yeah, I'm pretty convinced that all of that 8-bit products, they're magic. They got, I don't know, they're even almost more magic than the powder of Adam. Oh man, I need it all, Michael. That's the problem. How do you choose? It's all great. I got all the new stuff that you sent me. And then I don't know, I had like 4 pixie dust. Matter of fact, what I used in these was let me grab them real quick here. So in these ones right here, get rid of these others. In the white is monkey milk and blue rubies, blue crushed rubies. So that CR005 blue rubies. In the top part, that is not watermelon. So it's creek chub, kudzu. So it'd be 25 drops of kudzu, 10 drops of creek chub, and then 1/8 teaspoon of bluegill, or not bluegill, but sunfish. And then I had the pirate booty. So the larger, this is at Siren Scales of pirate booty, and I like it because it's gold, but as you look deeper into the bait, it almost looks copperish, and so it's like the kudzu changes the color of the Siren Scales. So you know, they just, everything I add these 8-bit products to, it ends up on a whole new level. So I forget what I was doing with the bluegill. Oh, I did some that were monkey milk on the bottom with the blue crushed rupees. Where did I put those? I think I already got them back. And then I used bluegill and black, a few drops of black in the top, and man, those came out phenomenal. So yeah, I tell you, Michael, you hit a gold mine when you found this stuff and started bringing it into us. I mean, you basically put bait making. You set a whole new standard there. A whole new bar is raised in bait making because of this stuff. And you look, if you go to the store and you buy baits, you walk up and down the aisles at Cabela's or Bass Pro, and they look boring. I mean, I can't even bring myself to spend money on them anymore. You know, it gives me ideas for colors, but I go down I go down the aisle and I take pictures with my phone so that I can go back home and make the colors and make them right. Oh yeah, spinner baits are cool. And Jeff he's got some phenomenal videos on the like the wire bending and stuff. So I've watched all of his videos on the wire bending because they just, man, Jeff does good with it. Get all my baits put back in this tray here to dry. And that's the thing about this SB coat. It dries to touch almost instantly, but if you let it set overnight before you put oil on it or anything, it stays bold. If you add oil to it right away in a bag, it'll actually, it's almost like it bleeds it and smudges it, makes it dull. Yeah, I saw that video where you dropped your boat off and it was like you were walking up and down the aisles and just weren't finding it. I bought the Hagen's. Yeah, I like that Hagen's wire bender, the Pro Bender. And even at that, I like the Hagen's, but I did make Hagen's has a little dies that actually with the pins in it that bend and stuff. And I actually made a smaller set of dies so that I could get tighter bends. I'll show you why. Here, let me. Yeah, I got one up there. Go to the airplane. there. Okay. Oh, that's a better catch, Jeff. So, if you buy commercial bent wire forms, and get one out here, they this little R bend in there. So your jig gets poured here, and then your spinner blade goes out here, you know, or maybe it's the other way around. Yeah, I think when you pour it, that goes through the hook of the eye. But you got that R bend, and what I found is that when you tie your line onto that R bend, invariably when you cast it, your line's sticking out, and all of a sudden it crawls down, and now you're pulling where that spinner blade is, and the whole thing just, it doesn't work, or it slips up here and it goes up to your jig head. So I thought I'd be smart and combat that by making a great big fat R bend. And what I found is that even with that big fat R bend, it doesn't happen as much going down to the spinner blade, but it happens a lot going down to where your jig head is. Your line just slips, especially if you're using a swivel on it. So what I did was, and I don't see where I got any in here now. Doggone it. There's two ways to combat that, and the Hagens, and I think Jeff, you showed on your other videos, there's a couple others that would do it. Instead of making an R bend here, you can make a loop and then put a twist in that loop, so that this is a twisted eye, and that will solve the problem. But to me, that gets to be awful gaudy. So what I figured out is I can make smaller dies for my Hagens, and now this R bend, when I get done, it's almost completely closed. Like, see if I can get this to where it'll focus for you. It'll close it up like that, and now your line won't slip down through there. So and that's why I like the Hagens, is I was able to make that that little adaptation for it. So have the loop and the twist. Yeah, you were doing those on the Hagens, weren't you? Yeah. I don't even know where I put there. But so you know, if you do get that Hagens, and you guys want that smaller die, matter of fact, I'll just grab my Hagens real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So right here where your handle is, you can see those two pins moving, and then you got this that you slide up against that, and that's what determines the size of your R bend, is the size of this pin and how close that pin is. So what I did was I made this die that it just screws to your handle. Your little handle here will unscrew off the bottom, and it'll screw onto there. And then I put this pin as a really tiny pin. It's like a 32nd of an inch diameter pin, and this pin I moved in really close. So now when you make that R bend, you can come almost completely around to this notch in this metal piece, and it closes that R bend up for you. The R-band ones were, but I sent the collars so they don't slip. Okay, yeah. So, what he's talking about in collars. This is kind of another neat thing. Let's see where I got some of those. Yes, I buried them. Basically, what he's talking about is if you buy the really cheap pre-made skirts that have a rubber band on them, I always take that rubber band off. I'll feed that up on my jig and then wire tie it or string tie it, and then I take that rubber band off. Or you can buy those rubber bands used for people that have braces. And so you slide the rubber band on here and then put your line through there, either your swivel or your you tie it on, and that rubber band will keep that from crawling down. And it's a great idea, but it seems like when I'm out on my boat, I can never find the rubber bands. So I finally just started closing this R-band completely up. And when it's closed up, it'll look like this. So it ends up like that, and then your line or your swivel won't slide down in there. So, and that's all I've been able to do is to figure out is I make a smaller bend on here, smaller R bend, and then I make sure it's closed up. So either one works. That rubber bands is a great idea. I saw that on his video and I tried it, and it worked real well. And the very next time I pulled out a spinner, I couldn't find where I had my little rubber bands. So yeah, that's what I use is the little rubber skirt collars. So, and it works great. You know, if you can find them. I mean, I put them in I know I've got a little, one of those little boxes with all little square dividers, and I keep extra beads in it, and I keep extra swivels in it, and I keep those little rubber collars in it and stuff, and I put it somewhere on my boat and I can never find it. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I'm not very good at finding stuff, I guess. Need to be more organized. Need to follow Michael's advice and just buy a bigger boat. So, you know, I keep telling my owner that I need a new boat because I got almost 150 hours on mine, so it's worn out. Now I need a new one. So go for one of those big nitros. That would be cool. But if I win the Angler of the Year in the next 7 tournaments, then I get a nitro. They'll give me one. So, but then I have to wear the PVA sponsors. I don't get to wear mine. So, which, you know, I've been sending out letters trying to get sponsors and stuff, put them on a shirt, put them on my boat. We're supposed to have sponsors. But, you know, and The biggest problem, if you guys ever get into these tournaments, is they're so damn expensive. I mean, you travel to them, like this one coming up at Gunnerville. It's like $800 just for a room for that 4 days. They're terrible. And then it's clear back in Alabama, so that's quite a drive. You know, I was hoping that Michael would bring his boat, since he's never been skunked on it. He'd just pick me up on the way. Then it wouldn't cost me as much to drive there. We'd let him pay for all the gas. The good news is, once you get there, the PVA does pay half of your gas and oil for your boat. So I guess if that's good news. But you know, when gas is $4 a gallon, it adds up, especially when your truck only gets, shoot, I think I get like 8.5 miles to the gallon when I'm pulling something with my truck. So, and it's a brand new truck. You'd think it'd do better. But yeah, so if you guys know sponsors, hit me up, let me know so that I can send them a letter. So you're sponsoring a guy who runs a boat service center. Bass Pro, he's headed to the Bass. Oh, cool. Cool. That's a hard one to qualify for. Now, if I win first through fifth place in these next 7 tournaments, if I place anywhere in the top 5, I'm automatically qualified to go to the Bassmaster Elites. So it's going to have your logo on the carpet. I'd put your logo on my shirt. Then people would see it. Well, yeah, because they make you wear a shirt all the time, so that's pretty cool. I'm wondering how they get those logos on the carpet, because I wouldn't mind doing some, but I don't know how to get them put on the carpet. Yeah, that's good that he qualified. I mean, that's... Who is it? I'll have to watch that. Of course, I have it going all the time anyway. So, I'm looking forward to it though. Gunnerville is going to be fun. That's going to be a good lake to go to. So, I fished it before a lot of years ago. It was good then. I guess it's better now. Oh, okay, Chris Martin, yeah. I've seen him around somewhere. I forget where. Thought he was in one of the tournaments. Oh man, which one was he in? Which tournament has he been in? Which one qualified him? It's hard, and it surprised me, you know, because I watched Bait Shop Michael. He's all the time talking about the statistics on YouTube and stuff, and watching the statistics. It's a go-to spot for a lot of bass guys. Did Bass Pro do the logos on your carpet and all for you? because that's what I need to do, is figure out how to get the logos onto the carpet. The shirt is, I got that figured out. Michael Bardowne sent me who he orders hockey shirts from, and they can do the fishing shirts with all the logos and everything on it. So I got that figured out. Now I need to get it on my boat carpets. So board facing sonar electronics and electrical batteries. Yeah, I've got my trolling motor is 3 batteries. My electronics are 2 batteries, and my starter is 2 batteries. So print custom boat carpet stickers. Okay, that's what those are, is a sticker. I'll have to look that up, see what I can find. So because I definitely need to get some sponsors and get them put on the boat and on the shirt and stuff like that. So it's a lot of work. You know, I can't believe that as soon as I qualified for this, it almost became, yeah, I went to lithium on everything except for the boat starter. Boat starter is AGM. The rest are all lithium. So, because I got so many batteries on my boat that it's to do regular batteries would have sunk the boat. So, because I don't have a very big boat, I got a pretty small boat. So, but yeah, lithium. The thing I like about lithium is, like, up until now, I've been in these little club tournaments, the 2 and 3 day tournaments, and for a 3-day tournament, I can charge my batteries before I go to the tournament. I don't have to charge them at all the entire 3 days. You know, and I run that trolling motor pretty hard. So out of the back end. Yeah, especially if you've got like the power poles and stuff, that adds a ton of weight to the back. Most of my batteries are right up just in front of the windshield. So so it offered the boat great balance. I mean, that thing comes up and planes out great. It's got good steering. I like it as far as that goes. It's just small. If there's 3 people on the boat, which there will be in this tournament, because it'll be me, a co-fisher, and then a cameraman, and 3 people on the boat, and that my boat chugs. I mean, it's starting to feel the weight. So you know, that's where if I went to one of those bigger, you know, like a nitro or something, you're limited to 200 horsepower, but 200 horsepower is a lot of motor. So let me do this real quick. Get rid of some plates there. But decals for the carpet, I'll have to look that up. That'll be cool. Yeah, but it surprised me, because as soon as I won enough tournaments that I qualified for the PVA Pro Circuit, then it became almost like a business. I spend as much time, you know, doing the business part of it as I, you know, getting the sponsors and getting the logos and getting the shirts and crap like that as I do fishing, which is kind of weird, but for 4-blade prop to get more lift. Yeah, you gotta be careful doing that, because you can go more blades and lose torque, or you can go more blades, keep the torque, and it's really hard on that lower end. So you got to be very, very careful. Fully loaded with 2 anglers. Fastest I got it up to 64. So yeah, seeing mine is I've gotten it up to 40 when it's just me in it. But then you start adding people and I'm way down there. So mine's just a little, it's only 90 horsepower. So you know, mine's a pretty small boat, but it'll get me through this, through the PVA, and then, you know, if I place, they give me a boat, so that'll be cool. Tritons were heavy, heavy boats. Those are heavy. So yeah, you got a nitro, don't you, Michael? I think I'd seen where you had a nitro in that video. So those are nice boats. Yeah, just make sure you match the right 4-blade so that you don't start tearing stuff up. Okay. Yeah, years ago I had a Ranger, and I should have never ever gotten rid of that. But at the time I was in fly fishing tournaments, and so it wasn't doing me much good. So my poopy dog came in, my good old blind service dog. Michael's E29. Yeah. Yeah. It has a few other features that the Ranger doesn't have, though. Every bass battery. Yeah. Yeah, those nitros are impressive boats. I would, you know, I would like to have one. Hopefully I will get one. Yeah, Ranger's kind of, I don't know, it's a Cadillac of boats, I guess is how you put it. But at the time when I had the Ranger, I was in the fly fishing tournaments, and so I didn't need a boat like that. Yeah, I've heard that about the nitros. They handle the waves better, and that's the problem here in Wyoming. We get a lot of wind, so we're almost always at least 20 mile an hour winds, and that's why I've been leaning more towards the nitro than the Ranger. So, and I think it has to do with the framework of the nitro. The framework's a little stronger, a little stiffer. But yeah, Ranger's a sweet boat. That was nice. I had that nice 350 on it. That was a good boat. Should have never sold it. Of course, now that boat would be 30 years old. You got a test drive your boat, huh? No, I mean that Z21 XL. That's a nice boat. That's probably top of the line for nitros, I would think. I know all the pros, you know, that have the nitros, they all have that Z21 now. So they've all gone to it. Uh-oh. I think my owner's trying to get a hold of me. Yeah. No, yeah, the biggest problem with boats, and like mine is the Tractor Pro Guide, they have gone to a cheaper and cheaper manufacturing process. And the quality of the boats and the lastability of the boats has greatly suffered because of that. So, you know, things like the Nitro Z21 and some of the Rangers and stuff, they keep the manufacturing standards way up there. So that boat will last you the rest of your life. So, of course, you probably want a different one in a couple of years. Everybody does. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way to go. Because my electronics shoot on. Oh man, I think I'm like 21,000 just in electronics. Electronics are getting outrageous. They're getting worse and worse. And they're another thing that they're not making them near as good as they used to, but they're getting more expensive. So, but I went with all Garmin this time. I used to do a lot of Humminbird, and it seemed like the Garmin was just as good as the Humminbird. And I went with Garmin, and the one thing I miss that Humminbird offers and Garmin doesn't is on Humminbird you can set it to follow a contour in a lake elevation, and Garmin won't do that. It'll do straight line, or you know, it'll do a lot of things, but it will not follow a contour. So yeah. Does the location where you're buying it make that much difference? Because it's the same price in Denver as it is in Rapid City. So, because I looked into it and I should have bought it. One of the biggest reasons I did not go with the Nitro when I bought it, when I bought my boat, was because I have little grandkids. And I was afraid that with the little kids on the boat, they would walk right off the edge of the boat. So I went with that Tracker Bass Pro because it has the deep gunnels on it. And and so I don't have as big a fear with the grandkids walking off. But now that I got the Tractor Pro, I wouldn't mind having, you know, a nitro that I went out on. Yeah, Lawrence is really, really good. A lot of people are going more with Lawrence. Um, and then I know one guy that he went with all Lawrence electronics, but he went with that Garmin Force trolling motor, and then he got an adapter cable to go from the Garmin to the Lawrence, so they can control the Garmin Force with the Lawrence. I forget which one he has. He has a 12-inch, but it's nice. Yeah, thanks for dropping in, Michael. You too, man. Appreciate it. Hey, give me a call when you get a second. I got to get some measurements from you. So, but you have a good one, Michael. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna have to get out of here too. Well, you guys back east, it's real late there, isn't it? 8, 9, it's about 10, right? So yeah, I'm gonna have to get out of here, and the wife has an emergency, or at least she thinks it's an emergency. I don't. So who cares if she can't lift the jug of water? Leave it on the floor. Go get a dolly. That's what I'll. Let me mess with it. Go get a damn dolly. Well, I'd give my butt kicked. She's meaner than me. I love the Garmin forward facing. Yes, I do love that. Okay. Yeah, but I do like my Garmin forward facing. It is so clear you can almost see the eyeballs on the fish. It is really nice. But yeah, you have a good night, Michael. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Mike Bardown didn't come tonight because he's having family night with his parents. So cool, good for him. We'll look for a video from him tomorrow on fishing. So, but you guys have a great night. Sure appreciate it. Yeah. Later, Michael. Give me a call when you get a minute. You have a good one. And everybody else, you have a good night. Thank you for joining me. I sure appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know sometimes that's hard, especially during fishing season. So, but we'll keep having these. I got a lot of baits that I got to build, and a lot of spinners and jigs and stuff that I got to have made before we get into Gunnerville. So, you know, hopefully it should be a good time. They do all the statistics, and they got me down as 60% first place and 40% second place. So hopefully I'll do good at it. But if nonetheless, I'm going to be in Alabama fishing, so how much worse could it get? So you guys have a great night. I really appreciate you coming. Thank you, sir. I sure appreciate it. And Jeff, can't wait to see your next video. Glad your wife's prognosis came out good. That was quite a relief. I've been sending some prayers her way, and hopefully you got a hold of Billy, Preacher's Creatures, and he's got a direct connection to the prayer hotline. So but yeah, I'm glad to hear her prognosis was a good one. So you guys have a good one.